proud to City Council. You know, one of the things we pride ourselves in is that we make it our business to hear from our community, to hear what you have to say, what you think, what changes you'd like to see, and this is exactly why tonight is such a very, very special night. What I'd like to do right now, folks, is that I'd like to have the council members join me in proclamations that we have prepared for you. Okay, and it certainly is, my honor and certainly a distinct pleasure to be able to present the following honors. One of the groups of folks that have been with us for many, many years here in Long Beach has become one of the most thriving communities on the island, and particularly here in Long Beach. St. Mary's has been the host to this magnificent society of men and women that are, for us, has become part of the culture of Long Beach. The name of the organization is called the Hermandad del Señor de los Milagros. This is the brotherhood of our Lord of the Miracles. And this proclamation, and just to say a very, very brief little thing on what and how important this is. The symbolism of the procession that takes place in Long Beach at this time, as you know, has been done now for 26 years in Long Beach. This community has become a part of the Catholic Church here in Long Beach, and they brought this tradition from Peru here to Long Beach, and it's become one of the most colorful, one of the most interesting, and certainly most fascinating processions or things that we do in Long Beach. And just to let you know that the reason why it takes a little long to get around the block is that the symbolism is that you take one step forward and two back, and you keep moving forward, but it's really the meaning of life itself. And the proclamation reads as follows. And I'd like to say in Spanish so they all understand. Bienvenidos a todos ustedes. Los queremos mucho. Gracias. Gracias por estar aquí. Okay. We are absolutely crazy about this organization. Whereas the Hermandad de los Señores de los Milagros is a Christian fraternity with a chapter in Long Beach at St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church, and whereas the Hermandad del Señor de los Milagros is a century-old fraternity founded in Peru, boasting thousands of devotees worldwide, and whereas on October 25th, 2016, the Hermandad de los Milagros will celebrate its 26th annual procession of the image of El Señor de los Milagros through the vicinity of our parish here in Long Beach. Now, therefore, the City Council, the City Manager, and the City of Long Beach issue this proclamation in recognition of the cultural and fraternal charitable contributions of Hermandad de los Milagros. Please come forward, folks.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much to the Long Beach City. Thank you for every year. The Hermandad Señor de los Milagros is present with us. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yes,
With that, I'm
Sunday,
gonna
Sunday,
introduce,
Sunday.
One of our city council lady, and Ms. Anissa will give the next award. Anissa?
Good evening, everyone. And this is a great honor for me to give this award to a group of individuals that, for the most part, have a thankless job. There are people who serve us tirelessly within our city. And sometimes we forget to pause to tell them that we really appreciate them. I'm speaking about the Long Beach Auxilliary Police Department. Service within our community, and so tonight, again, this gives me great honor to present this certificate of recognition. And it states, whereas the city of Long Beach holds in great esteem and wishes to recognize those who have contributed to the community and have dedicated their lives in the service of helping others. And whereas the city of Long Beach does desire to publicly acknowledge the Long Beach Auxilliary Police Department in honor of a successful end to the 2016 summer season. And whereas the members of the Long Beach Auxilliary Police Department collectively volunteer over 10,000 hours per year, including over 250 regularly scheduled events, patrols, and nearly 100 special events. And whereas, once again, the LB, ABT, aid, augment, and assist the Long Beach Police Department, especially during the summer, when thousands of visitors make their way to our city by the sea, by providing them with additional eyes and ears, along with serving as a visible deterrent, assisting the LBPD wherever called upon. And now, therefore, the city manager and the city council, in recognition of the exemplary service to the community, proudly present this proclamation to the Long Beach Auxilliary Police Department. Len Torres, Council President, Anthony Eramo, Council Vice President, Eileen Goggin, Council Member, Scott Mandel, Council Member, also a member of our Long Beach Auxilliary Police, as well as myself, Anissa Moore, yours truly, and our City Manager, Jack Schnirman. You can also drive to your feet and show them that we appreciate them.
On behalf of the members of the Long Beach Police Auxiliary, I'd just like to thank the City Council, the City Manager, for this recognition. It's a real privilege and pleasure to serving all of you, the people of the City of Long Beach. Thank you.
You know, the Auxiliary Police Department, every time you come down Leo Boulevard and you're about to enter Long Beach, that's really a feeling of security when you look to the right and they're stationed there. It's been there for many, many years. And, you know, by the way, we're renewing, renovating that area very shortly. With that, I give now the mic over to another, council member. This one was also a former president, and that is Mr. Scott Mandel. Okay.
Hi, good evening. One of the things that makes Long Beach so special is members of our community. We have such a treasure of artists, business people. It's really a collective city. But hidden among those members is Steve Adelson. Those of you who don't know Steve, he is a world-renowned musician and teacher of something called the Chapman School. He actually has instructional videos and students from all over the world that come to him by Skype, and he travels the world performing. We've been fortunate the last 14 years to have Steve spearhead the Long Beach Jazz Festival. In this festival, he brings over musicians of the top quality that you would pay hundreds of dollars to see if you can even get tickets. They come here for free because of Steve. And that puts Long Beach on the map. So tonight we wanted to thank Steve. We heard a rumor that this may have been the last year for this festival. We're hoping it's just a horrible rumor. No pressure, Steve. Thank you so much.
I have gifts for the council, t-shirts.
By the way, we were issuing this before we knew about these t-shirts. So, long overdue. Whereas the city of Long Beach wishes to recognize those who are committed to the betterment of the city and the lives of our residents, and whereas the city of Long Beach does desire to publicly acknowledge Stephen Adelson, jazz musician and Long Beach Jazz Festival promoter and organizer, in honor of a successful 14th year for this world-class annual event. And whereas Stephen Adelson has been instrumental in organizing and overseeing the Long Beach Jazz Festival since its inception in 2002, attracting top quality jazz musicians from across the globe. And whereas since 2002, Steve Adelson has tirelessly and successfully promoted the Long Beach Jazz Festival as a premier destination for jazz aficionados, connoisseurs, and fans. And now and therefore, the City Council and the City Manager of the City of Long Beach, in recognition of his exemplary service to the community, proudly present this proclamation to Stephen Adelson.
I don't usually speak, I usually play. But I do want to give a big thanks, besides to the city, to our great library, because they hosted it, they give us our sponsors who make it possible to make it free. We don't charge a penny to any of the venues. I want to thank my family, friends, who used to sit up there on the council, and now she's taking pictures. I want to thank the musicians. We presented over 1,000 musicians over 14 years, high-class musicians. And of course the city and all the fans who came out had a great time, and hopefully we enriched their lives. I thank you for making it successful. We are actually the most successful jazz festival on the East Coast. Thanks a lot. One more thing to say, because I don't get a chance to do this much. There's a lot of live music in Long Beach, so please come out and enjoy it. Instead of sitting home watching TV, going on your computer, come out and have a great time listening to my music. If you're not doing anything this Friday, I'm playing at the Elevator. 6 to 9. 2 hours for you.
I think we're on right now. You know, again, although the next person I'm going to introduce really does not need too much of an introduction. He's been with us on the council for many years already, and that is the one and only Eileen Goggin.
Good evening, everyone. I have the privilege of giving the next proclamation to someone incredibly special in Long Beach. She's one of our unsung heroes. And recently, I initiated a Senior Matters program to reach out to seniors throughout Long Beach to find out how the city can best help our seniors. And I visited with Johanna Matheson, who is the Director of Youth and Family Services, and Johanna introduced me to the next person that is receiving a proclamation tonight. And it was amazing because I had not met Linda before. And then I learned so much about Linda and Linda's following and everything she has done for the city. Her name is Linda Chonkaver, and she has been volunteering at the Magnolia Center for the past 12 years. And through her work at the Magnolia Center, she has reached so many seniors, has helped so many seniors, has been the coordinator there, has initiated so many programs. I believe it's up to 25 to 30 programs now. So, Linda, could you come up, please? And there's seniors, there's people who aren't seniors, who love you and who realize how wonderful you are. So let me just read this proclamation because there's some important information in here that we should all know about Linda and all the work that she has done. The City of Long Beach does desire to publicly acknowledge Linda Chonkaver in recognition of 12 fulfilling years volunteering at the Long Beach Senior Community Center as a program coordinator. Ms. Chonkaver donates her time to numerous community organizations and volunteer initiatives. These include serving as an active member of the Women's Auxiliary League, Veterans of Foreign Wars, collecting donations to support military personnel and serving overseas, and coordinating a senior knitting group which knits blankets, hats, scarves for soldiers and cancer patients at various hospitals. Ms. Chonkaver was a member of the City of Long Beach Senior Advisory Board and is a member of the Magnolia Senior Center PAC Committee. During her 12 years as a volunteer program coordinator, she has been instrumental with assisting the Magnolia Senior Community Center to grow from a handful of programs to now offering over 25 to 30 classes a week. So the City Council and the City Manager, on behalf of the City of Long Beach, in recognition of her exemplary service to the community, proudly presents this proclamation to Linda Chonkaver. I'm going to invite up Johanna Matheson, who actually I think wants to say a few words, who has worked with Linda. And before I do so, thank you so much to everyone for coming out and taking the time. It's because Linda's so special. I saw some of the people this weekend on the boardwalk and who I see here now, and they weren't aware of this. So thank you for coming out, everyone, and being a part of this. So Linda, appreciate it.
I just wanted to make sure that I remembered what I wanted to say, because Linda is a very special person, and I just really want you to know how much we appreciate you. Linda Haber represents the true spirit of one who cares for her community. She has been at the forefront of so many programs and initiatives that have benefited so many. Our seniors, our veterans, patients in the hospital and in nursing homes. Linda is the eyes, ears, and maestro of the Senior Center, coordinating and calculating to ensure that programs run smoothly, safely, and efficiently. I would like to extend a personal and heartfelt thank you for all that you do and for helping to make the Magnolia Senior Community Center a jewel for our city. Thank you so much.
I have a cold, so I don't have my voice today, but on behalf of the seniors of the City of Long Beach, I would like to thank the City Council and the City Manager for making our dream come true, for having the best senior center in Long Island. Certifying a better one and thanks to the support and the funding and for believing and caring for our seniors. So thank you very much. And thanks to the seniors too. And thanks for coming out. And for thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, this is a very exciting evening tonight, and we're glad that we have the turnout we have to see the heroes of Long Beach and how we recognize and we want more heroes to come forward like this. Just a couple of reminders before we begin our meeting. The first thing is that there is a 3-minute limit on the questions and of course, comments that you'd like to make. And that we do because we need to hear from everyone. The other thing too is that we are asking for folks to sign up now during the meeting, before the meeting is over, for good and welfare, a very important tradition that we kept here for, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 years in Long Beach. So that's an important thing to do if you'd like to be part of the good and welfare section of our meeting. And then finally, we ask that everyone did adhere to the kind of decorum that you would like in a governmental meeting, which is what we're going to do. We don't have very much of an agenda left over, but it's an important couple of items that we have to discuss. And with that, I will turn the mic over to Mr. Frazier.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Council of the City of Long Beach on Tuesday, October 18, 2016, at 7 p.m. On a roll call, Councilmember Goggin.
Here, good evening.
Councilmember Mandel. Here. Councilmember Moore.
Here.
Vice President Eramo. President Torres.
Here.
As the record indicates, the presence of City Manager Jack Schnirman and Corporation Council Robert Adelson. And now salute to the flag.
Okay, Mr. Eramo, would you lead us in tonight's pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, I'd like to introduce our city manager to give us our city update.
Okay, a few items this week. The Long Beach Chambers Restaurant Week begins this Friday and runs till October 30th. Visit Long Beach Life for a complete list of participating restaurants. This Sunday, October 23rd, the Long Beach Shopping Hall is taking place from 10 to 5. You can sign up for it at Lula La for Rose and I. The first 200 registrants will receive a swag bag filled with goodies, a bracelet, shopping mat, and access to special offers. After the crawl, everyone's gathering at Lola's between 4 and 6 for a wrap-up party with raffle prizes. All are invited to join for the 10th Comprehensive Plan Neighborhood Meeting on Monday, October 24th from 6 to 8 at the Martin Luther King Community Center. The community's input has been absolutely crucial in guiding the city through the comprehensive plan process. This meeting will aim to further gather community input process. The meeting will be a meet and greet presentation on the plan and panel discussion. Meeting leaders followed by a question and answer session. City staff will be on hand to answer any questions you may have. Visit longbbeachlistings.com to review the draft plan, concepts, and provide feedback. In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, the City of Long Beach is partnering with Long Beach Cinema Tour on October 25th at 7 p.m. for a special screening of The Same Moon by Lisa Luna and subtitles. Join us for the 3rd annual Race to Rebuild Long Beach Community Race on Saturday, October 29th. To remember the 4th anniversary of Superstorm Sandy. The races begin at 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Following the races, the city will be holding its annual Superstorm Sandy Remembrance Ceremony at 10 a.m. on the boardwalk at New York Avenue. Also on the 29th, Arts in the Plaza will be presenting Halloween in Kennedy Plaza. All are invited to come in costume and have a blast for our annual Halloween bash. There will be a costume parade, hula hoop contests, music, and more, along with exclusive handcrafted arts and crafts and a free kids art station.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schnirman. And with that, we'll begin our meeting.
Okay. Item number 1 has been taken off the calendar. Our second public hearing is a public hearing for an ordinance to amend the code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding carryout bags.
Okay, the intent of this ordinance is to promote the use of reusable bags over carryout bags in order to reduce the negative environmental and economic impacts associated with carryout bags. It is our finding that imposing a bag fee on the customer can create a shift in consumer behavior towards the use of reusable bags and significantly reduce the amount of carryout bags within our city. By way of background, we have a one-page overview here of what we're looking at in the front room. It's also available on the front of the room in Spanish. A few words by way of background before we begin the public hearing. Just want to say a few quick thank yous because a lot of work behind the scenes went into preparing for this public hearing, probably stretching back a year and a half. I want to thank Brian McKiernan in my office, as well as Patty Bourne and her team for doing an incredible amount of research and working as part of a collaborative effort to put together bag pollution education events and become part of our grassroots efforts, began by organizations like All Our Energy and Surfrider and Bring Your Own Bag campaign. The efforts have been inspiring. For helping to organize and fund those events, I'd like to thank All Our Energy, Surfrider, the city's Environmental Advisory Board, who's done an incredible job putting this together, the Chamber of Commerce, Bridgeworks, Cybernet, and Empower Solar. Months of legislative research went into this, so again, thank you to our staff, to our Corporation Counsel, and everybody in the Corporation Counsel's office who've made this happen. And again, to the members of the Environmental Advisory Board, the League of Conservation Voters, the Citizens Campaign for the Environment, George Christensen specifically, who's leading this fight statewide, and the Food Industry Alliance, who's been helpful as well. Very quickly, and I'm not going to get into all the details here, I'm sure we'll get into them. From a quality, we have a few things that cause the city to look into this. Quality of life, number one. Bags often become litter, blocking storm drains, which exacerbate flooding, blowing into trees and waterways, which diminishes quality of life and endangers wildlife. And city crews are constantly removing plastic bags from streets, storm drains, the trees, beach, parks, so on and so forth, and they cause a variety of quality of life issues. Second, this is real action on climate change, reducing plastic and paper carry-out bag uses, decreases carbon released into the atmosphere as a result of the production, transportation, and waste associated with bags. Third, to make the cost for bags both environmentally and economically clear to the consumer. Single-use carry-out bags already actually cost customers money. Stores pass that on to their consumers. Fourth, currently statewide plastic bag recycling law is not yet effective, and our single-stream recycling program, like many municipalities, cannot recycle plastic bags. And fifth, this has been successful in a variety of other places. Suffolk County recently enacted this legislation. New York City has been going through this process as well. Cities nationwide, including Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, San Jose, have successfully reduced single-use carryout bags by enacting bag charges. This is Long Beach coming together to play our part and setting the tone for Nassau County and Long Beach again, inspired by our city council and keeping the goals set forth by our city council, being ahead of the curve. That is the background of the issue. I know there's a lot of people who want to make sure that they are heard.
Thank you, Mr. Schnirman. I just have one thing to say that, as I mentioned before downstairs in front of City Hall, for many years we grappled with the kind of damage that the plastic bags have done to our environment, to our wildlife, to even domestic animals. I have a dog that ate a plastic bag and had to have surgery, had it removed from inside his intestines. So it's a real menace, and it has been a real menace. We are proud, this council is very proud to stand up and to be able to say, that's it, we don't want that here. And we, of course, have to thank everyone that's worked really hard at this legislation. And I want to particularly thank Mr. Agostini for doing the legal research so that when we put together legislation, it's something that it becomes part of Long Beach and that we don't wind up getting sued. With that, folks, I'm going to ask the council, are there any comments at all? From the council? Okay, are there any comments from the public? Okay, here we go. We'll start from this side of the room, going to the left. Come on.
Hi, everybody. I wrote this down. Pregnancy brain is a real thing. So I don't want to forget anything. My name is Amanda Moore. I've been a resident of Long Beach for 7 years. I own a local small business and I sit on the city's Environmental Advisory Board. I'm also a volunteer for the Surfrider Foundation and I'm co-chair of the Chamber of Commerce's New Sustainability Committee. Needless to say, with that resume, I am here to speak in fervent support of single-use bag legislation here in our city. I have been bringing my own bags personally with me on every shopping trip for over 10 years, and I know that everybody out there can do the same. With the grassroots educational efforts that have already taken place, combined with the city, businesses, and residents working hand in hand to make this positive shift together, I know we can effortlessly transition into becoming a reusable bag culture, just like so many cities and countries have done around the world, like Jack pointed out. Plastic pollution is a global issue that simply can no longer be dismissed, and this is one easy step we can take on a local level to try to reverse the horrific health, economic, and environmental effects of many decades of needless single-use plastic abuse. I applaud the Long Beach City Council and City Manager for taking this bold step alongside our neighbors in New York City and Suffolk County, and I'm grateful for every single person and event that has brought this movement this far. When I first co-hosted a plastic pollution education forum for young children in the West End in 2013, our hope was that, one by one, we could enlighten the community about what's happening in our oceans and across the planet, and it fills me with immeasurable joy to see that we have come this far, to see the support from school children here with us tonight and so many more, that the Chamber of Commerce, the multiple civics, businesses, and residents, and now the city government are all standing in solid support of this. Not only will I now get some much needed free time back after this yes vote is locked tonight, but we all get to be a part of a better future of Long Beach and beyond. So thank you so much to everybody that made this happen. Bye bye, bags.
We have another person in the same row here, George. Just need your name for the record here and welcome to your meeting.
Hi, I'm George Powell from Polar Energy. I want to take this time to thank the council for all of the support that you've shown on this campaign over the course of time. It has meant a lot of people got to hear us and got to understand the issue much better. I also do want to thank Mr. Agaspisi for the legislation that we have been, we think is really the best way to go about this. It doesn't hurt anybody, and it will put the, incentive in getting this done in such a way. And I think that between now and the time that's going to happen, we have work to still do. I think the merchants can really come together and make sure that we can get some kind of reusable bags out to the public. I think it's a great advertising opportunity. I think it's a great time for them early on to send out their best clients with their advertising to every other store. And I think that it's a great way for the community to come together. So I wanted to present the council with our petitions, a total of 3,137. And although the majority of them were local, we had, I believe, over 25 countries also. So I'm going to leave that here for you. And I just want to say that this has been an incredible experience in realizing what can happen if everybody looks out for the best interests of the community and other members of the community, takes that into full consideration, and makes it turn into action. And I think that this is going to be a great change for Long Beach. It's going to make Long Beach stand out as a community that cares about its natural resources, which is really we all love the natural surroundings here. So in conclusion, thank you very much. I think that once again, Long Beach is way out ahead of the curve on this, but I really do think in 10 years from now, this is going to be the law of the land, right? And so right here, and in other places that have already done it, we are setting the tone for the rest of the world. And Nassau County. Thank you very much.
Okay, Scott Bachner, proud member of the Environmental Advisory Board. Look, we had a problem. We have a global problem with plastics. We live on a barrier island. We all saw it. We all saw it in the water. We all saw it in the trees. We approached you and said, look, we want to solve this problem. How do we do it? What should we do? So we put it together, and this is democracy, right? This is how it works. How about stewards of the sea? These young stewards of the sea. So we were going to the school. We put them out there. Your legacy. This is our legacy. You will be the people who will be saying to our children, yes, we stopped this issue, this plastic bag problem. This is a global problem, but it's so difficult to get things done. And we did it. So Long Beach is leading. I hear it all over. I was last night in Suffolk County, and this came up with the nitrogen meeting. And I applaud you. I applaud Long Beach, and I'm so proud to be part of this, that this culture, you will be smiling when you go shopping, and you will see people carrying their old bags, like the rest of the country and a lot of other cities. And you will be saying, boy, we really did the right thing here. People, Long Beach is ready to carry their own bags when we go shopping, and I want to thank you guys, all of you, and everyone here that helped with this. Long Beach is ready to carry their own bags. Thank you.
I believe we have champagne right here. Welcome to our city council meeting, and state your name.
Thank you. My name is Tara Bono. I'm a member of the Long Beach BYO Bag Committee and a manager at Power Solar and one of the sponsors for the campaign. I just wanted to say thank you so much for working with us. It was very obvious very early on in this that Long Beach was really well positioned to actually make this a reality. And support to get this done. I presented this yesterday to our whole company who's been behind us the entire time, and they said to me, Tara, how did this happen? How did this become a real thing? And it seemed in such a short period of time, and I just have to say it really takes a village. Real big shout out to Amanda, George, Scott, who made this happen. Obviously the City Hall, you know, everything from Joey being a plastic bag monster during the freezing cold day of Super Bear Plunge, to holding screenings on the beach, to being at synagogue, Jungle Brew, really doing community outreach. Amanda going door to door to businesses and getting them to sign on to this. You know, that grassroots really is huge, and we couldn't have done it without such a supportive City Hall. So can't say it enough. Thank you to every single student, business, community member who was part of this and made it happen. I'm so proud of everybody here, and I look forward to seeing more people breaking their reuse bags in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to recognize someone here that's in the audience that's come a long way to visit us and to be here at this, landmark legislation, and that is Mr. Assemblyman Engelbert. Could you come forward, sir? I know you've come a long way, and we're honored to have you here.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for your very generous welcome. And I'm pleased, in fact, I wanted to be here to make offer some comments on this extraordinary piece of legislation. For those who don't know me, and some do, Jack Schnirman and I worked together many years ago. And of course, Anthony Eramo is the sponsor. But let me just say, I'm the chair of the New York State Assembly Committee on Environmental Conservation. And in the prior incarnation, I was a Suffolk County legislator. I was the sponsor of legislation that really, I think, was a grandfather to initiatives such as this. Today, it was the Suffolk County plastic ban, which basically centered on the use of bags. Which brings us to this piece of legislation. This is model legislation. It's the best I've seen in the many years that I have been looking at legislation that deals with the solid waste issue. It is thoughtful. It will be effective. All of us live on an island. You live on an island that's a sub-part of the larger island. Your solid waste issues are even more compelling than the mainland, if you will, of the rest of Long Island has to deal with. This will help. Indeed, I hope you pass this enlightened piece of legislation, because I think it will help in the larger sense as a model for the rest of the state. And that's really why I wanted to be here, to say that I think you have an opportunity to do something significant, not only for your own community, but in the larger sense. This is a model that many of the other communities, I think, should look at and follow the example of Long Beach. And indeed, with your permission, Mr. Eramo, I would like to utilize this as the basis for statewide legislation.
Yeah.
Presented by all of us. It's not one particular councilman. We're all work on this together.
My congratulations to all of you for your thoughtful and very timely piece of legislation. Thank you for this opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Folks here, we have, I'm going to start again from the left, this young lady right here, and then we'll go to the other 4 people that are counted there. Please come forward, and again, welcome to our city council meeting.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited and honored, and wow, you guys nailed it and killed it. I was just a little beyond Stacy Russo. Sorry. I was just a little drunk on the bucket standing on boardwalks and farmers markets, getting petitions signed. The real shout out goes to Mandel, George, Tara, Scott, and a lot of the others. But you guys put your head on the pillow and smile tonight because you did a great thing for Long Beach and our oceans. Thank you.
We have the young man there. The other thing too is that I can't see too well from this distance, but absolutely. This is truly a friend of Long Beach. Please state your name and welcome to our meeting.
My name is Harry Soma. I'm a Citizens Campaign for the Environment, and Jordan, I'm sure, wishes she could be here. And thanks for the shout out. I'll pass it along. So thanks for the opportunity to provide testimony with your consideration of the single-use bag legislation. CCE, as some might know, is an 80,000 member nonpartisan environmental advocacy group. Just to put that out there. We've worked on reducing plastic pollution for the last 10 years. Absolutely excited tonight to be here about the proposed amendment. Single-use disposable bags have become a great detriment to our natural resources, littering beaches, clogging storm drains, and harming wildlife. They've truly become an unwanted invasive species. The good news is that this is a solvable problem, and placement of 5 cent disposable bags has proven to be an effective strategy in reducing them domestically in places, like you mentioned, Washington, D.C., and internationally in countries, Ireland, where they saw reductions of 60 to 90%. And that's enormous. That goes a really long way towards tackling the plastic bag issue and plastic pollution in general. Of course, single-use bags do come at a cost. These bags are not and never have been free. And we're glad that you recognize that tonight. The time has come to begin looking at these bags as the invasive species that they really are, and they truly meet the definition in the worst ways. Once in our environment, they're difficult to eradicate. They have a larger and larger impact on the food web, and they will not go away without human intervention. Tonight, the opportunity is upon us, upon you, to make that intervention and to lead the way for the rest of Nassau County to follow suit. We urge you to take action, be bold, stand up to plastic pollution and pass a critical ordinance. Long Beach has the opportunity before it tonight to lead the way and be the first municipality in Nassau County to tackle this form of plastic pollution. Vote yes, as we strongly anticipate you will. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a person who also doesn't need introduction here, Ms. Fran Adelson. Please come forward.
Thank you. Personally, I am so thrilled to see this on the agenda. All of you have worked so hard. I know this started a year and a half ago. I was on the council. I'm only sorry for the only reason that I'm not on now is to see this fast. But I am so ecstatic. I'm also here to speak for the new Chamber of Commerce of Long Beach. There is an entire new Chamber of Commerce in Long Beach, and we have various committees. One of them is the Environmental Committee. We've been working with Bring Your Own Bag to talk to the businesses in town, to get them on board. There's a lot of education that needs to take place. We understand that. A lot of people come to us with a lot of questions. So we like to work with the city in educating all the store owners and the business owners so that this program can be rolled out in the right way and really, be done in the best of its ability to be done. One of the things that the Chamber is doing now is some businesses are purchasing reusable bags. And those reusable bags will be given out to the store owners. So far, there's over 30 businesses that have signed up to have these reusable bags. Some of them will be giving them out to the people that come into their stores. Some of them will also be put into, we're not sure exactly how this is going to work, but for people that cannot afford to buy reusable bags, there's going to be some kind of a certain number of bags that the Chamber will be giving out. So I just want to let you know that you have the full support of the Chamber. We're so happy to be working with you, and thank you so much.
Thank you. In the back there, please come forward.
Good evening, my name is Laura Swan, lifelong resident, teacher for 24 years, proud member of the Bring Your Own Bag campaign, and I'm the coordinator of the Stewards of the Sea, which is comprised of our victory of the LNG terminal in Long Beach. So I'm very proud, and to know me is to know my enthusiasm as an art activist. Last year we were prompted with that campaign to make signs for the farmers market, and they were displayed throughout the market just as a precursor, just to remind people that here we go, we're launching this, and they're handcrafted stamps. So we're proud to have those still for use for the future. I do have a piece of literature I just wanted to read, and I thought it was ironic that the Daily News had an article called Paper or Plastic. That's by Sarah Goodyear, and it's from Saturday, October 8th, 2016, and it's called Paper or Plastic. And I've highlighted a few things that I think are poignant here and will help maybe encourage, if there needs to be any more encouragement. In fact, it says that, and I'm sure a lot of people here will remember this, plastic bags came into fashion just as the United States was starting to come to grips with the dawning cost of environmental disregard, including litter. In 1971, the nation was moved and shamed by the crying Indians, a craggy-faced Native American who served as a central figure in a commercial produced by the anti-littering group Keep America Beautiful. In it, the character paddles a canoe down the pristine wilderness river that gives way to floating trash and smoke-belching factories. He hauls out on a littered shoreline and then makes his way to a nearby highway, where he stands stoically and passing driver throws out trash and it lands on his feet. As he turns to the camera, and most of us will remember this, a single tear trickles down his cheek. And the tagline, people start pollution and people can stop it. That's poignant for us, right? And in the closing notes, I have a mark here, and we're a generation coming from the consumer throwaway culture. We are just realizing that we can't do it anymore. Our landfills are filling up, our ocean is filling up with plastic, and we have to make that change. And once people start understanding there's a consequence for where these products go, after they're in your hands for 10 minutes, we will get people thinking more about how to consume and to live more sustainably. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for this night. It's like a dream come true. Appreciate it.
Welcome, Fiona. And
I'm Fiona Eramo, Florida Street. I fully support the City of Long Beach in passing this resolution to eliminate single-use shopping bags. This initiative will help decrease litter throughout our streets and especially in our ocean and bay. As president of the sophomore class at Long Beach High School, I wanted to support our residents by making it easier for them to get reusable shopping bags. The sophomore student organization, under our great advisor, Mr. Repchick, who's over here, has teamed up with Lucia Conchera, an amazing artist in the junior class. She has with her the sketch that will be on the bag. We are designing a reusable shopping bag that will be for sale very soon. Not only will this benefit our city by reducing garbage, but all proceeds will go towards supporting the class of 2019. Thank you, and I hope this resolution passes unanimously and tells the rest of New York how environmentally friendly Long Beach is. And shout out to my brother Maceo, who made my dad's tie out of plastic bags.
I always say it takes a lot of courage to come up to a mic and to state a position, an opinion. We welcome and we commend you, Fiona, and your friend. I believe maybe there are, we'll go to Mr. Hodge and then Mr. Bendo, is that back there?
street, right here in Long Beach, New York. One, I just wanted to thank Amanda, George, and Scott, and the committee for doing a fine job, and let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for having the grassroots campaign to do the fine job with the children and let them know. Thank you, Amanda and George, for coming to the Martin Luther King Center, and we did a video there letting everyone know some of the effects of what plastic bags do. You may have heard it a lot already, but plastic bags pollute soil and water and kill thousands of marine mammals yearly. Americans throw away almost 100 billion plastic bags every year, and only a fraction are ever recycled. Plastic bags are not biodegradable. They fly off trash piles, garbage trucks, and landfills, and then park, like somebody said, stormwater, infrastructure, float down waterways, and spoil the landscape. If all goes well, they end up in proper landfills where they may take 1,000 years or more to break down to even smaller particles, and then continue to pollute the soil and water. So, living by the former incinerator, where all of the garbage trucks came and dumped a lot of the plastic bags and everything that went in the garbage truck, it was always flying in North Park and around the bay and in the recycling yard. So this is great legislation, and what's so great about it is I know George and the committee has been working with, and the Chamber of Commerce have been working with people that can't afford the bags. They're looking to see how can they sponsor thousands of bags to be able to give to maybe those seniors or those that just can't afford these bags, and they want to go shopping and they go to the store and they don't end up having a bag. So it's great that just like people have shopping carts, now they will have their reusable bags to go to the store. And, some people don't believe in climate change, but hey, maybe they'll get a wake-up call. Thank you for what you're doing, Mr. Zimmerman. I appreciate you. And thank you for coming all the way here in Long Beach and adopting our legislation. I love being a trendsetter this city. So thank you for being a trendsetter. Thank you for what you're doing to the city manager, to the city council. Rob, thank you for doing all the background research and your staff. So thank everyone that had a part in this. And again, thank you, George. Bravo to the children. Bravo to all of those that put this hard work together. Congratulations.
Thank you. Now we have Mr. Mandel. Please come forward. It's good to see you too, Mr. Mandel. You're welcome.
Good evening, John Bendo. I think you missed one proclamation tonight from Maceo Eramo for making that tie. I think it's great that we're getting ahead of the curve here in Long Beach, and that might even be used for legislation at the state level. I want to just come at this from a slightly different angle and address a couple of the things in the resolution itself. In Part 14-135, it says that this establishment shall charge a fee of not less than 5 cents, but it doesn't put a cap on the fees they can charge. So what's to stop a business from charging a quarter or 50 cents or $1 per bag? I would suggest you may want to put a cap on the fee that can be charged for a carryout bag. Also, it says that all monies collected shall be retained by the business establishment. Since it's the city that is responsible for cleaning up trash and disposing of the trash, including these plastic bags, and they bear the cost, why is the city not getting any of that money from the fees to offset the cost the city bears for trash pickup and disposal? Also, where it talks about the businesses that will provide the carryout bags, should there be a requirement in there that if they are charging for carryout bags, that they should also have available for sale recyclable, reusable bags should be made available for sale as a requirement. This might be splitting hairs a little, a legal thing, but on that the businesses have to post signs near the points of sale, notifying the customers of the provisions. fine print. We're all aware how, we've seen commercials where the font is about, 2.5. Just should there be, again, a requirement in there that it has to be of a readable size for someone, especially somebody that maybe glasses and doesn't have them. And then finally, on the bottom where it talks about the fines, the resolution does not address the enforcement mechanisms for this, for these, as well as which department of the city would be responsible. And that being said, you've all heard me say before my feelings on the fact that we do public hearings and then vote in the same meeting. If any of these you consider are valid, I would hope there will be amendments to adjust it before you vote, or perhaps table it till the next meeting so you could make those adjustments.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Thank you. These certainly very important I believe we have our last person to George. You come on up. Good to see you. I see you change your clothes and wondered where you were all the time. Good to see you.
I work. Joseph Nathan, 700 Shore, Long Beach, New York. I just wanted to respond to one of Mr. Bendo's questions that the benefit of having bags incentivized for reusable purposes actually, in a long-term study, removes added weight of distributing boxes of reusable of plastic bags that cost fuel, that cost sanitation to remove it, and it is an economic measure towards sustainable economic, here's something interesting, the triple bottom line. That's the environment, the economy, and social justice. We're trying to have people incentivized to be more aware of the environment, but also businesses who are allowed to charge a tax on something that they're giving out to someone to sell, but we're aware now that it's bad for the environment, so we should be making sure that those bags are prohibited of them wanting to use more. And for the city, that benefits us with not having sanitation trucks, removing them from the streets, having our streets impaled by more traffic delivering these bags, and that's all we're at.
Okay, thank you so much for bringing those points. I appreciate the hard work you're doing. I think that might be it. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment regarding this item number 2? Very important legislation that we have put together. And with that, we're going to move on to our next item. I believe there might be an amendment on the floor, if I'm not mistaken. That's right. Okay, since there are no more questions that we got from the public, any questions from the council at all? Then I'm going to close the hearing at this point. Go ahead.
The last public hearing is for item number 3, the ordinance to amend the code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding plumbing.
Okay, this time I make a motion to table item 3 and to reschedule the associated public hearing until November 1st at that city council.
Okay. I'll second that motion.
Voting on the motion. Councilman Goggin.
Yes.
Councilman Mandel.
Yes.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Vice President Eramo.
Yes.
President Torres.
Yes.
Okay. On to the regular calendar. Item 1 has been taken off the calendar. Item 2 is the ordinance to amend the code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding carryout bags. Hearing has been held on this item already. Item 3 has been tabled. Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the replacement of the roof at the MLK Center with the lowest responsible bidder.
Okay, the roof on the Martin Luther King Center has outlived its useful life and is in need of replacement. Funding is available in the capital improvement plan and was approved approximately 6 or 7 months ago by the city council. It's a pretty straightforward project. I'd ask the Deputy Commissioner of Public Works if he wants to give a quick sentence or 2 overview.
long-awaited rehabilitation of the roof at the MLK Center. We had 2 bids we received for the project. One was Moore Consulting, in the amount of $83,000. The second bid was Hilltime Construction, in the amount of $113,000. $83,000 is a very, very good price. That company, Moore, has actually just recently completed a large job at our street maintenance building, and they did a really, really good job, so I highly recommend them. This is a long-awaited project. It will solve a lot of the issues they have there with leaks and so forth. So I recommend move forward with this project.
Well, certainly very glad that you mentioned that we've worked with this company before, and that's good. And you're happy with the work.
Very good. They did excellent work.
Okay. The rest of the comment.
I would just quickly mention also the more construction, different spelling than our councilwoman and normally.
I didn't think of that, but yes.
I just have 2 questions. Is it a completely new roof?
Yes.
And how quickly can they start?
They're going to start hopefully this past tonight. They have a notice for that will go out tomorrow. They have 10 days to sign contract, and they'll start shortly thereafter. We'll be done by the end of the year within 60 days.
Sure, Mr. Mandel.
Will there be any interruption to the services offered at the MLK Center?
There should be no impact. But we will coordinate with them.
I would just want an assurance that the panels, the ceiling panels will also be repaired. I spoke to the city manager about this. If you go into the MLK, and I know you've been there, I'm sure you've been there, because of the leaking and the damage, those panels also need to be repaired. So it's not just the roof, but the damage that was caused by the leaking.
We'll take care of that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm sure you've looked into the safety while programs are going on. That, of course, is
we're going to coordinate with.
Very good.
Very good.
Well, Commissioner, thank you so much. Are there any comments from any more comments from the council? Comments from the public? We have yes, Mr. Hodge. Come forward. Yes, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
James Hodge, 95 East Fulton Street. Thank you again. Martin Luther King Center, built in 1981. Built on my yard when I was a kid. Took my space in my yard. But it's been a pleasure in my life, my whole life. And I'm honored to be a chairperson of the board of directors there. I'd like to thank the city for looking into the roof. We've had leaks over the years. I'd like to thank all the city council for coming down, everyone who came down. I know Anissa has been there many times and have had this issue. Anthony and Eileen, I know, was there the other day. And those ceiling tiles, just to let you know, are taken care of. Was taken care of today. So thank you. I appreciate that. And all of those that continuously have worked with different projects at the MLK. Scott, thank you also. And the city manager, sometimes on his free time, he's down there playing ping pong or shooting a jump shot. So thank you very much. So again, I come to you to thank you for working with the community to address a very, very important issue, which was leaks during our program and throughout the year. And the city, you did what you had to do, and we're looking to definitely work with the city to make time so the necessary repairs will be done, which we have senior programs and recreation programs and different programs that go on there. So again, from the board of directors, from the community that utilizes the center and the residents, I appreciate the city for fixing the roof and looking into other things to fix as we go along the way. The roof has not been repaired or been touched since the building of this center in 1981. So again, I appreciate, I don't know any time that the top of the gymnasium roof has ever been touched, but I know that it's been patchwork over the rooms area, but the whole roof is being fixed. And again, thank you, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure, are there any more comments on this item number 4 that we have on the MLK roof? Okay, and with that, folks in the back holding up signs, I just want to recognize that we do see you and we appreciate your presence here tonight. With that, I turn the meeting over back to Mr. Fraser.
Okay, on to the voting portion. Item 2 is order to amend the code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding carryout bags. Please move the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second?
I will.
Lori, Councilmember Goggin.
Okay, I took some notes on this as well, Amanda. So I'm voting yes tonight, and I'm proud to vote yes because I believe it is in the best interest of Long Beach and all of its residents to do so. I am voting yes tonight because I love my city of Long Beach, and as such, it is a priority for me to protect my city's precious environment and marine life. By enacting this amendment, which will encourage the use of reusable bags over plastic carryout bags, I believe the city of Long Beach will be taking a big step forward to reducing pollution. Now, not everyone may agree with my vote tonight, and I know I have the support of this group here, but for the people who are not here tonight, and for those of you who disagree because of any inconvenience maybe or any other reason that you may not agree with this amendment, I can tell you that I see where you're coming from, because before I became aware of the detrimental effect of these plastic bags and how they can destroy our environment, I too relied on carryout bags when shopping for groceries and other goods. But once I took the time to educate myself and then realized I personally could make a difference and help protect our environment, I started bringing my own bags, and I have continued to do so. It is no longer, or I should say it's not an inconvenience to me, because I know my simple act of bringing my own bag will help reduce pollution. With time, I am confident that those who oppose this effort will come to see that their personal interests or conveniences sometimes need to come second when there is a greater purpose that is at stake, like saving our environment. I would like to thank a number of people, a number of individuals, and I'm sorry I'm not going to mention names tonight, but there are so many individuals and this grassroots effort that have helped educate me and made me aware of the detrimental effect of these bags. And I'd like to mention the groups now: All Our Energy, Surfrider, the Chamber of Commerce, and thank you for being on board with this, the Environmental Advisory Board, BYOB Committee, and everyone else who I have left out. I want to thank you very much because I appreciate your hard work. I appreciate reaching out to the businesses and the communities and getting the signatures. And so I sit here and I proudly vote yes, and I'm so looking forward to moving forward with this, and thank you.
First, I'm very proud to be part of this historic vote. This is something that's bigger than Long Beach. Even though what we do tonight, hopefully, serves only some of Long Beach, this serves to protect and preserve not only our city and future generations here, but our neighboring villages and towns. And maybe it will start a movement that will go up past our city, past our towns, past our county, maybe even statewide. Thank you, Assembly. I think it is a great step forward. I think more importantly, it shows, although we're the last step in this process, I'm proud to be part of that, it really shows what a grass movement can do, and the tremendous spirit and sense of civic awareness and caring that's instilled in our community and the friends here of Long Beach. So with that, I proudly do this.
Well, I too am proud to stand with the members of City Council, with BYOB, with All Our Energy, with Surfrider, with so many other environmental allies, just all the residents who are a part of this urgent fight to save our planet. I too believe that this is a first as well as a necessary step in making a difference, and embracing reusable bags will ultimately protect our sea, our soil, our animals, but it will
our great city, and I look forward to partnering with all of our environmental as well as governmental allies as we pursue environmental justice and protect the progress for all. So I vote yes.
Vice President Eramo.
Just a moment of personal privilege. I too would like to thank my son Maceo for making me this tie out of reusable bags. And I'd like to thank my daughter for coming up and putting together a program for the sophomore class. And really being a great piece of artwork that will be on those bags. So thank you, and thank you for being here. This has been going on for over a year now. I'm very honored to be up here and be a part of it. I was very excited. As I know George will remember, I mentioned it in my inauguration address this year that this is going to be something where we're going to do this year, and I'm so happy to be sitting here doing it. But stuff like this, all steps like this don't happen without dedicated partners and those that really understand the fight to protect the environment, that understand that we are on the front lines of protecting our environment and the fight against climate change is real, and I believe that. And we couldn't have done it without the dedicated partners like Ryan McTiernan, who did work so hard and diligently as well. Amanda Moore, Scott George Koval, and the Honorable Fran Adelson. And I also would like to say to Stacey Russo, you came up here and said that you were just a peon in this movement, and no one is a peon in any movement. We all do what we can. Lots of hands make little work, and I appreciate every single one that got one address, one signature on that petition, or 100 signatures in that petition. That's what makes everything work. That's what makes it. And of course, to the Assemblyman who leads the environmental movement here in the state, I thank you. I want to partner with you and move this for statewide legislation, and thank you very much for coming out from Stony Brook tonight. I really appreciate it. So with that, it's an honor to stand with the City Council and this administration protecting the environment over and over and over again, and I proudly vote yes.
President Torres.
Yeah, I'm going to be very brief because I'll probably repeat what everyone else has said. All I want to remind everyone is that when people stand up and say something and give their opinion, voice their concerns, we on this council, we made and we promised this when we signed our oath of office, that we will listen, that we will incorporate, that we will partner with you. It's a thing that we know we have to do. You give us a little time to do the research, and the laws will be passed. My vote is an absolute yes.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the replacement of the roof at the MLK Center with the lowest responsible bidder. Would you support the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilman Dodd?
Yes.
Councilman Mandel?
Yes.
Councilman Moore?
Yes.
Vice President Eramo?
I'm really happy this is getting done. Yes.
President Torres?
An absolute yes. Thank you.
You make a motion for please?
I'll second that.
Voting, Councilman Dodd?
Yes.
Councilman Mandel?
Yes.
Councilman Moore?
Yes.
Vice President Eramo?
Yes.
President Torres?
Yes. Okay, folks, now we enter our second part of our meeting, and again, for those that signed up for the good and welfare, we will call the names up. I'm going to have Mr. Eramo handle this part of the meeting. And,
Take a quick second and we'll start with welfare if anyone's leaving. All right, we're going to start our big welfare now, so if you are leaving, please.
Our best person is
Leave.
next week, but all right. She wishes she could be here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for sticking around. 3 minutes of public comments. And, all right. First up this evening is Lou Duval.
Good evening, Lou Duval, next slide. Thank you. John Mandel brought up a very interesting point. When you have something that's a public hearing, and a great thing that this was passed, but there was a very good point that was brought up in terms of, well, the point they brought up, and brought up several. Why can't you have a public hearing and then have the voting the following week? I mean, I think that's, or there should have been some mechanism to have an amendment at this point in the meeting.
We could amend.
So the future ladies will amend it, addressing John's.
No, if we chose to amend any piece of resolution, we could do it right now.
Then that should have been done. John brought up some very good points. But you guys just voted because I guess you wanted to get it done. So in the future, so will there be some sort of legislation passed in the future to address John's concerns? I mean, that's something that should be brought up.
We'll continue to discuss it, but this has been, this wasn't just one night that we discussed.
I understand, but John had a very good point. Besides this, but in the future also, if there's something that's brought up at the time, you know, either do an amendment at the time or table it for the following week.
I think, just to add to Mr. Duval's point, I think the issue right now is getting some information out to the members of the audience, because obviously there's some information that we're privy to that may or may not be clear based on what's indicated in the resolution that we passed tonight. So can someone speak to and or address some of the questions that were raised?
I don't mind just saying that the city had looked into those issues previously. We have a 7-month window now where we do a public education effort before this is implemented. So if there's anything that comes up during that that needs to be addressed, there's always 7 months to address.
Right, okay, so Kathy, I mean, one thing that came to mind is there's a minimum of 5 cents, but there's no maximum, you know, in terms of charge per bed, so that can be addressed.
Right, I would just tell you, by the way, that the free market goes, right? If there's a business that wants to gouge and charge $10 a bag, I would imagine that's going to hurt their business.
Right.
So that's, the free market's going to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duval. The Honorable Fran Adelson.
I just wanted to once again thank you for passing this ordinance tonight. However, I do understand that there are some questions, as we talked about in the chamber and just in general, people will have a lot of questions. So any information that you could put out, the faster, the sooner, as you know, today. And the only other thing is I would just like to also thank you. I live on Harmon Street, and Clark Street Park is on my block, and it's coming along really nicely. The work is being done, it looks beautiful. It's the only park that I can think of in Long Beach that has a lot of green space in it. And I'm really thankful and grateful that you kept the green space, because all summer long that park is filled with people even just having picnics there. So thank you for keeping that the way it was and for doing the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marcus Tinker.
discussion about that? And when is a vote going to take place to make a change?
Well, we have had internal discussions, and that is, we have had discussions with the council, yes, and that's all.
Town Hall.
I think we're still waiting on that letter.
We actually recently received a letter back, Marcus, I'm happy to share with you a copy of that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. James. Once again, the hat trick, Mr. James Hodge. Is he here? You left already? Okay. Now I kind of group these all together. We'll start with Ms. Dina Fiore.
Hello again.
Good evening.
How are you? First of all, you know my name. I'm obviously representing Long Beach Papers Against Overdevelopment. Promise I'm going to keep this brief. The person who we would like to have seen here tonight and have a discussion with is Mr. Torres. But on behalf of the hundreds of neighbors and Goggin residents of the city of Long Beach, again, we'd like to go back and publicly and personally thank Eileen, Goggin, Anissa, Scott Mandel, and Anthony Eramo, who just this week gave us their support as well against the proposed project at 530 West Broadway. Since he's not here, and I'm hoping you can pass the message along, that we would like you to speak with him and urge him to support us as well. Let him review the project. He can comment like you did, and we'll be happy to sit down and review it. But the voting residents want to know where he stands on this. And if there's anything you can do to help us get that message to him and try to get a response, that would be great.
I will.
All right. And great job to the bad people. The city might want to think, just as a side note, maybe do something to incentivize the residents to, turn in their plastic and get it free reusable. Thanks.
I like it, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ray Norman.
Ray Norman, 560 West Broadway. One of the reasons I am speaking tonight was I wanted to address the iStar possible tax break or the application for an $89 million tax break. I was informed that possibly there'd be union members here tonight supporting or requesting that the city support this application for an $89 million tax break. I'm not sure if there's any union members here actually doing that, but as a resident, I am concerned that if this tax break goes through and the dollars that are lost to the community would have a detrimental effect to our school district, our infrastructure, and our community. Also, I just want to say, since we were speaking on environmental issues, I just point out that the Bay Park sewage treatment plant is possibly maybe privatized, and there is environmental beliefs that we should have a second ocean outfall pipe where millions of gallons of treated sewage will be placed right off our shore. There is technology to convert that waste treatment to water for irrigation, which would have a direct effect on saving the Lloyd aquifer water supply. In addition, I saw petitions, and 3,000 petitions for the plastic bags, and I think that's great, because quite frankly, I have to be reminded not to use plastic bags. But it brings me back to thinking of my sister, Kathy Castiglione, who was a coronary nurse at Long Beach Medical Center, had 15,000 petitions signed to bring back an emergency room. And I would hope through this council and the cooperation of South Nassau that someday our 9/11 ambulances can treat heart attack, stroke, and trauma victims. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. John Mandel. Thank you, sir. Colleen Murphy. Mr. John Ashby. State your name and address.
John Ashley, 3080 Speech Street, Long Beach. Good evening to the council and other members up there. I'm here, as Mr. Elmer mentioned, there's rumor that there was something maybe going to be presented to the council regarding iStar, and I guess I would just ask the council if something's either going to be presented or is presented, that this council take no action without further discussion with the community on any requests that come in respecting the iStar. Thank you.
Mr. Rick Stutz.
Good evening, I'm Rick Stutz, 99 Torres Street, Long Beach. In the short time allowed, I hope to convince you to have a meeting with me to properly discuss some of the issues regarding the North Shore Bulkhead project. I did not come here tonight to disrespect or embarrass the City Council, but simply to help stop the city from making any more costly mistakes. Having previously lived on the water in the 5 towns in the 50s and 60s, and currently living on the open bay in Long Beach since 1981, that's over 50 years in total, I've experienced just about anything and everything waterfront living has to offer, both good and bad. Unfortunately, the people making the decisions on the bulkhead project do not have the first-hand experience on living on the bay. I met with Jack Schnirman and his lovely wife at my home. I also met with Eramo at my home, Eileen Goggin via phone, and Torres at a lunch meeting to discuss the important issues which must be evaluated before the city goes forward with the North Shore Bulkhead project. Eileen tried to set up a meeting with Jim Lockeruba and myself to discuss these issues. I received a very curt email from Mr. Lockeruba telling me he did not want to waste his time or mine since he was going ahead with the project in the scope in which it was designed. How arrogant and egotistical. After Jack explained to me that neither he nor Mr. Lockeruba had a degree in engineering, he set up a meeting with Michael Loma, Vice President of Tetra Tech, the engineering firm hired by the city to spearhead this project. During the hour-long meeting at my home, Mr. Loma several times pointed out that every fact I was making was totally correct. He asked me if I had a degree in engineering. He was surprised when I told him my facts come from common sense and my experience of living on the water for many years. At the end of our meeting, he agreed with me that the project would not stop the flooding. I also received an email from Ryan Tierman substantiating more incorrect statements by the city regarding the project. Now, in these 3 minutes, I couldn't begin to explain to you that bulkheads are not designed to keep the water out. They're designed to keep the land in. In 3 minutes, I could not explain what is taught in 6th grade, that water seeks its own level. In 3 minutes, I could not explain that the tide flex valves not only do not work, but in fact, they are counterproductive and an ongoing maintenance problem. In 3 minutes, I could not begin to explain why a few weeks ago on September 30th, Farrell Street was flooded, Kirkwood Street was flooded, even with your tide flex valves. Heron Street was flooded, but Barnes Street did not have one drop of water, due in part in the fact that I worked closely with an independent engineer during the planning and reconstruction of our street. All of the bulkheads on the above-mentioned streets are at elevation 9. However, we raised the level of the land above the floodplain on Barnes Street by raising it 14 inches above its original elevation. I hope once again I can help Long Beach. We, the Bayfront homeowners, represented by a signed petition, are encouraging you to abandon this ill-fated project. We are prepared, if necessary, to hire lawyers to defend our position. I would hate to see it come to that. My son was born and raised in Long Beach and wants to raise his family here someday after he graduates from law school. My wife was born and raised in Long Beach, and yes, we raised our family here. Her father was born and raised in Long Beach and raised his family here, and his father before him was one of the original founding families of Long Beach and raised his family here. I have a vested interest in the future of Long Beach. Hopefully we can set up a meeting and constructively discuss this and several other issues to benefit Long Beach. Thank you for your cooperation.
Ms. Eileen Hession.
Eileen Hession, 516 West Beach Street. I just have 2 things to say tonight. Number one, I'd like to thank the 4 members of the council who have publicly stated that they are against the proposed project at 530 West Broadway. And I would like to urge the absent President Torres to review the proposed project and inform the voting residents of Long Beach where he stands in regard
regard to this critical issue. The second thing that I wanted to say is that I too heard a rumor that the iStar people would be here tonight and they would be asking for the council's support for a tax abatement. In August, the IDA refused iStar's pilot. Let that be the end of it. We've already been through this. iStar should do the right thing, pay their fair share, or leave Long Beach.
Mr. Ronald McHenry.
Good evening.
Name and address.
Name and address. Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Ron McHenry, resident here at Pine Street, live on Pine Street, resident here at Long Beach. I have two topics, but now I'm going to put three. Mr. Marcus Tinker came up and asked about the rotation of presidency, and you said that you guys had a meeting about doing it or not doing it, or when you're, I don't know. But it just seems like it's not transparent, you know, like a little bit secretive. I think we all come here for a transparent government. And when it's not transparent, it almost seems like, and this is just me, political corruption. So I'm going to ask the question again, and I hope for a more articulate, respectful answer. Do you plan on, when are you going to put on the agenda to rotate presidency? Because we all know that Torres, of whom I voted for, so it's not like I don't like him, is 4 months past due.
So just to be clear, there is no official position that the presidency is rotated. That's something that was done, wasn't done, and I believe that it is something that the council discussed internally, which we all have done, and I believe you'll be seeing some movement on that very soon. But I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't think it's appropriate because it's a decision we make internally, and that is correct.
I understand the internal, but it's not just me, it's not just Marcus. Many people have asked. And again,
historically, the council presidency has changed in January.
I didn't finish, I'm sorry. But, when a couple of residents come and ask a question, I just would like a transparent answer of, 2 months. Because it's been a while, 4 months. Secondly, I guess just on this transparent note, we met and talked, I met and talked to a couple of people, and I've also talked to Ms. Moore, and you guys are all terrific. But I think before the summer, even past then, there was a situation where an employee of the city, Michael Robinson, had disrespected our councilwoman. And I just wonder, has any action been taken? Has he written a letter? Because I know that disrespecting one council member is disrespecting you all, because you all work together. So has there been any action been demoted, or has he been spoken to? Has he written a letter, or has there been a council meeting with him addressing the situation?
I believe it was investigated, and I don't know what
you don't have any answers. Okay,
I don't.
All right. So who do I speak to? Because this is, Ms. Moore, a dear friend of me. It was again a very insulting situation, and again, I think if it's her problem, it's everybody's problem. Lastly, I just want to say how proud I am to be a Long Beach resident, and the whole DAC situation is beautiful. We are potentially a role model for our state, for our country, in passing laws when it comes to plastic pollution. But there's another epidemic that I hope we could be a role model in, and that's policing when it comes to minorities. We all know that our country has a situation not well with minorities in policing. And this is not the first time I brought this up. It's actually the second. Months ago, is there a policy, or has there been a policy put in place within the last couple of months, weeks, about the community and policing?
I believe we follow the community policing model, and I don't know that in the last couple of weeks that's something.
I know that the commissioner was supposed to write something new.
I believe there's going to be some sort of something in the Herald that lays out our community policing model. I believe that's happening. I don't know, maybe Benjamin knows, but
so I should speak to Benjamin.
Well, I'm not interested. No, I don't mean that. But I just want to say one thing though that I want to touch on, and I know Anissa speaks about it a lot, and we all seek to have the most transparent We all do, and I think I can speak for all of us when we say that, when I do say that.
I'm just saying, when we talk about, when another, not me, and you say, we talk about amongst ourselves, or you about to come here and say, we need our star to, don't do anything behind our, it just seems a little bit.
Well, that's what this is for. Technically, this is for public comments, and you're supposed to be able to talk for 3 minutes. We digest and take down notes, and we discuss it together, or we discuss it apart.
I get it, but this isn't the first time. I understand the whole note taking.
I just want to address the community policing issue because, first of all, a community forum was held back in July, and many of the members of the council, along with their city manager, was present at that community forum. And one of the critical issues that came up was the actual having a community policing plan. All right, and since that time, as far as I'm concerned, as far as to my knowledge, that we do not have an actual plan. We do have initiatives that our commissioner, along with our police department, have moved forward with. However, a comprehensive plan is something that we still need as a city, and I hope that we'll move forward with that sooner rather than later. This is critical in light of everything that's happening on a national level. And so I believe that all of us as a council, we will continue to move forward to make sure that happens.
Again, to be a role model.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. And Janine or Janice Gillespie, Mr. Janine.
Good evening, Janine Gillespie, 527 West End. I know this is a future thing that's been planned for the city of Long Beach, and I was not here the night I think that it was discussed. But I have a few questions to ask each one of you as council people. How long have you resided in the city of Long Beach, Mr. Mandel?
50 years.
Okay. Mr. Schnirman?
5.
Ms. Moore? 7. Mr. Eramo?
12.
Mr. Harris?
I don't.
You don't. Okay. In 2001, we had a 5-day Hispanic festival voted in by Mr. Michael Zaxton, who was the head of our city council at that time. It ended up being quite a disaster. We don't have the infrastructure of police force, sanitation, or bathroom facilities for any type festival to take place in this town. We also ended up in a $250,000 lawsuit, of which we lost, that was brought against the city by the vendors that got closed out of that 5-day festival. We are now signing on for a 3-day LGBT festival in June. I don't know what you're thinking. I really don't. You are locking up our town where we pay all these unbelievable taxes, and truthfully, everybody here will agree, they pay them, they grin, they bear it, but they want 3 months, 4 months, and those are the beach months. Why must we compete with this town being constantly overpopulated by somebody's brilliant idea that we need a 3-day festival? I will give you a 1-day festival. Irish Day is a 1-day festival. Do we want to open the door and let Irish Day become a 3-day festival? Now that would be a nightmare, would it not? So why are we signing on for 3 days for this festival? What gives this festival a precedence over previous festivals that have taken place here? The other thing is, are they going to float bonds to cover the overtime costs of police force, sanitation, public facilities for bathrooms? Are they giving you any money to cover the cost of what we will need for the amount of people that will come into this town?
I believe so, yes.
And what dollar amount is that?
I do not know. I can't speak to that.
Who signed us on for this? Who agreed to this and went into the agreement?
There's a permitting process underway, a formal planning process underway, and a variety of folks will be involved in it.
Do the people who live here get to have a say whether we want this 3-day festival? Or is it just the council's say?
You're getting time to speak about it right now.
Yes, but will the rest of the town get time to speak about it and come up? Will this become a public forum? Because I am honestly tired of taking 20 minutes to get to my house in summer months from the east end to get down to Mandel Boulevard. I am tired of not finding parking. I am tired of just being held hostage in my own town that I pay $17,000 a year for. I'm tired of it. So is everybody else. You need to rethink this before we end up in another lawsuit because it'll have to be shut down because we can't handle it. We're a small beach town. Stop overpopulating us. It's you.
Thank you. That's all we have this evening. Thank you very much for everyone coming out.